Beloved Baba, Jai Baba, Meher Baba ki Jai. I am Brother Erich's cousin sister, Roshan Kerawala, and I have been with Beloved Baba since I was a little girl. The first time when my mother took me to Baba, I was 9 months old, and then my recollection of being with Baba is from 1942, because my mother passed away. She went to Baba, and our whole family had to move from Bombay to Ahmednagar. My 2 sisters and 1 brother, they all had polio. So my father could not take care of 4 children by himself. So we all moved from Bombay to Ahmednagar, and one of my eldest aunt's husband had died 6 months before my mother. Then one of my uncle's wife died 2 months later, and then my mother died. So all these 3 loved ones had departed from this world to Baba. And my aunt had 5 sons and 2 daughters. And that uncle of mine was not educated, so he did not make much money. All he left behind was 1,500 rupees with 7 children to take care of. So my father and my other uncle decided that if we all stay in Bombay, then we have to pay 3 rents of 3 different houses. But if we all stay in one place in Ahmednagar, where we don't have to pay at all. So whatever money is saved can be given to the sister to take care of all the children. All the children means that we were 13 children in the family at that time. So we all moved to Ahmednagar, and luckily for our family that my father and my other uncle had met Beloved Baba in 1922. At that time Beloved Baba was speaking. They came to know from the villagers who used to come often to my uncle for medicine, homeopathic medicine. We had free dispensary. And they said that there is a Parsi sadhu sitting under a neem tree at Arangaon. This village is called Arangaon. So next day my father and my uncle and my aunt, they all came walking cross country. At that time there was no house if you walk cross country. There were fields and fields and fields. So they walked cross country and came, and when they reached here, Beloved Baba was sitting under the neem tree, and he was singing to the Lord with very beautiful voice. And my father approached him. So usually in Zoroastrian people, when we meet each other, we embrace each other, and then we ask, who are you? Then you tell where do you stay, how many brothers and sisters you are, everything like a family member. So my father said, we are from Ahmednagar, we are Satta family, and I have 5 brothers and 4 sisters. So Beloved Baba immediately told my father, I am your 6th brother from today. And Beloved Baba then next day or so came walking cross country to our house. When Beloved Baba came, my grandfather was sitting on the veranda. Usually Parsis, when they get old, they sit on the veranda with the Avastha, our prayer book, and just keep on reading and keep on reading. And in the meantime, what he sees is Baba coming from the gate towards the house. And to his eyes, beloved Baba looked like Lord Zoroaster. Baba was very, very young, very beautiful. His hair was open. He was wearing up to the ankle white sadra with long sleeves and pajama. And he was really a very beautiful person, very good complexion. And so my grandfather stopped reading the book and he started clapping loud, because when we have to draw attention of our family, we don't speak, we clap. And when everybody comes, you stop reading your prayers and then you talk. So Grandpa said to his children, "Here is Lord Zoroaster." And Baba was speaking. Then he talked with them, and after everything was over, Baba said, "I'm very hungry." He had walked 12 kilometers from here to that place. And then Grandpa said, "Oh, go ahead, the food is ready in the kitchen." So Baba walked through the house as if he knew the whole layout of the house up to the kitchen. In those days, we had log fire stoves and coal sagris and things like that. And the food was nearly ready, cooked. So Baba opened the lid, went to the rack where the plates and mugs were kept. He took it for himself and put the food, whatever he liked to eat. And in those days, we used to all sit on a patla, small stools like wooden stools. Sit and put the food on the lap and eat with hands. So simple was the life. And then after eating, Baba greeted everybody. At that time, my father was not yet married. They were young boys. So there were no children in the house that time. And Baba said that I have to go now. We do not know whether Baba went to Khushru quarters, means trust office, where Adi Senior was living, or Baba went back to Meherabad. Anyway, so now Baba was one of the family, so he used to come as and when he felt like. Then my father went to Bombay to find a job. My uncles went in different directions and they all started working. Eldest uncle got a job because he was educated in designing how to weave the material. So he went to Nagpur mill and got a job there. By that time, Erich's mother was already married. So she was also in Nagpur, so he stayed with their family. And my father they had found my mother suitable for my father. So they got married. Luckily, from my mother's side, my grandmother, who was staying in Nagpur, to her doorstep, Tajuddin Baba would come and sit. And because Baba was Muslim, my granny did not like him. because usually Zoroastrian people did not like Muslim people. And she would say, "Jao Baba, jao." But he wouldn't listen to her. He would just sit as long as he wanted to sit there and then go away. And during that time, there was an epidemic of bubonic plague. My youngest uncle was 7 years old, who had been sick with bubonic plague. He had glands over here, and the doctor who had come to see the patient in the morning said to the granny that, "I don't think this child will survive till evening. It is really very serious." So my granny had other children also to take care of. She had to do cooking for them, and we were very low middle class family. So there was no servant. So she made him comfortable in a cool room, because Nagpur is a very, very hot place in summer. He was made to lie down on a bed sheet, and he was getting in and out of consciousness. Sometimes he would go very high fever, means the child was in very great pain. That day, Tajuddin Baba did not sit on the doorstep. My granny was at the other end of the house in the kitchen, and the child was somewhere in the middle room. He walked into the house and took my uncle on his lap. And that's what my uncle said, that he put his 2 thumbs into my mouth, and where we have tonsils like, he pressed it and broke the glands. And it was very painful. The child gave out cry, and all the pus and blood came out of mouth, nose, ear. It was all splattered, and he picked him up by his leg like a rat and pressed the glands, and so that the poison doesn't go into the stomach. If it ever goes, then the patient dies immediately. So he did what he had to do to the child. My granny came running to see why the child is crying so loud. And she sees all this everywhere, blood and pus and all that, and he is holding the child upside down. And he says to her, "Amma, don't worry, your child is not going to die. I have done necessary thing for him, and he's not going to die. Don't worry, but go and get fresh bed sheet and fresh clothes, washed clothes." Oh, thank you, dear.
Yes. Thank you.
And
This is Indian tea. Oops.
and then he removed the clothes and cleaned the child with little bit clean places of that dirty clothes and changed his clothes. And Tajuddin Baba rubbed and told the granny to bring ashes from the kitchen in a small plate. So she brought ashes and he rubbed the child with the ashes and put on clean clothes for the child. And because the child was now feeling very good, the pain had gone, so the child went off to sleep. In the evening, the same doctor came to see the patient, whether the child is alive or gone. And she says, "What happened? Where are the glands?" So then my granny explained to her about Tajuddin Baba. And after that, she started giving respect to Tajuddin Baba and believed in him.
Roshan, was
Yes.
that diphtheria that he had?
No, he actually had plague.
Plague, bubonic
There
plague.
was an epidemic of bubonic plague.
Oh, that's right, you said bubonic plague. Because Don, my husband, when he was a small child, he did have diphtheria and was like suffocating from the infection, and his father also stuck a finger in there and broke the so the pus could come away, and that was diphtheria, and he must have saved his life from doing that.
There are different illnesses of the throat. You get mumps, which swell up your glands, and you can't drink any liquid, nor can you eat anything, and it hurts really bad, and you have very high fever. That is called mumps. Mumps. And
But this was plague.
this was actual plague.
A lot of people in Nagpur died of the plague that year.
People would die by hundreds.
Tajuddin Baba was in a mental hospital.
I know, I heard of
Yes,
that.
and that is why, actually not because Parsis don't like Muslims, Parsis and Muslims get along fine, is because he was in the mental hospital that she was concerned. My great-grandmother was concerned that, this madman is coming and sitting on our doorstep. But she had no idea who he really was.
We came to know because Baba told us he was one of the 5 perfect master. Otherwise, we normal human beings cannot make out the masters. And doctor was astonished, and from that time onwards, my grandmother started respecting Tajuddin Baba. That uncle of mine lived till the age of 75. And not knowingly, my uncle and my grandmother's side people did not believe in Baba. But not knowingly they served Baba. The uncle who had bubonic plague and another uncle who worked in Sarosh Theatre as a manager cum project man. They both served. That uncle who had bubonic plague was staying in an ice factory where beloved Baba came and stayed in that ice factory when our Meherabad was getting built, getting done, for Baba to go and live there. Yes. My uncle who was project man, he always used to grumble because he used to work in the theatre till 1 o'clock at night. After the show is over, night show is over, he had to shut down the machine and see that everything is in order and ready for tomorrow. And by the time he came home, he was very tired. And he would go to sleep. And at that time, Baba had got into the mood of watching movies. So Baba would go at 5 o'clock early in the morning to watch Laurel and Hardy and Charlie and Chaplin. And I don't know which movies beloved Baba watched, but they were silent movies. And there would be music in the background, but everything was in action, and with those subtitles. And our Dr. Ghaver's father had a canteen in Sarosh canteen, So in the interval, we would be all served with nice hot cup of tea and pastries by Gavir's father. We used to have great time.
But you weren't there in the mornings when Baba went for the movies.
I used to go in the bus. Meherabad people would pick us up at Akbar Press gate.
At 5 in the morning?
5 in the morning.
They'll open the theatres 5 in the
Ah, my uncle.
Okay.
Because it was Sarosh's theatre. And because Sarosh loved Baba so much, he's part of the monthly. Especially for Baba, he would open the theatre.
Only Baba ladies would go with beloved Baba. And the rest of the ladies would go in the blue bus.
What year was this?
I can't remember. It must be in 42s.
How old were you?
5, 6, maybe 7, I don't remember. But I was a very talkative person as a child, naturally. At that age, you yap too much. So I used to be put with Kitty David at the last row in a corner. And she would say, shh, shh. She would give me biscuits, she would give me chocolates to keep me quiet.
Would you like some tea?
I don't know.
In which case, I'll have some.
Have it all.
Tell what's up.
Margaret, would you want some more tea?
No, thanks.
She doesn't have this tea. She has the one that my mom has without milk. Herbal tea.
But it's very nice.
I like it. Karen knows I like it.
I just taste it because
Sure.
I heard her say nice. I
very
heard
nice.
you say nice. I
No,
just
this is
taste-
not the, this is very, very little left.
That's so nice.
Okay. We've done justice to her
You want to
tea.
taste it?
Where's your card?
Kanak rehne.
Nah, finish already.
Would
Yeah.
you like some more?
No,
No, thank you. I am having herb tea.
Oh.
I don't usually have tea with sugar, but this is actually very tasty. So how many of our granduncles and aunts heard Baba speak?
Pilu Mama, Papa, Noshirwan Mama,
Gulamasi.
and Gulamasi.
And what about Meji Mama?
I don't have
He
any
might have
idea.
gone by that time.
Yes, he must have gone to Shanghai for his job.
And by the time he came back, Baba was silent.
Yeah. He came back when the Second World War
But he used
was.
to come and go. He had met Baba before that.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah, he used to come and go. They had like when he came on holiday, he would meet Baba.
Yes. Or we don't know when in 1922 he must be also very young, so he must have heard beloved Baba. I don't
Yeah,
know.
last Meherabad Kaka, he was might know.
Anyway, so
Sirin Masi was not there.
Sirin Masi was there.
But so she didn't hear Baba at the time?
She must have also heard because she got
She was
married.
living in Akbar Press, no?
Yes.
Her husband and she were living.
No, her husband and herself were in Bombay.
Ah, so then she wouldn't have been there in 1922.
No,
was
but she
married.
might not have been married.
She was
also.
married in 1922 because you think about how old the other children were.
I have no idea, so I cannot judge. Anyway, so we had Baba all the time.
But I just need one sip, so please share it with me.
beloved Baba used to, when he would go to Adi Senior's office for any work, he would stop at our gate, then roll down the window and do like this, or pet on her head, or sometimes he would open the door and he would give us an embrace, and he would tell us, tell your aunt to keep the food ready, I'm coming back. And then he would go to Meherabad. Yes.
So was Don your sister or your cousin?
No, Dan was my sister. She was 10 years elder to me. Yes.
Because that's when I was in that house when I visited Don.
Yes. So I had a brother who was also having polio.
Muscular dystrophy.
Muscular dystrophy.
Polio is of infection.
And he would sit on the floor, hold his chappals and walk like that. And every child would play in the evening, but he would sit in the compound and fly the kite. And I would help him to fly the kite. I would hold the rim for the kite to fly. One day, beloved Baba came in the evening and he was flying kite. Other children were playing some other games. And beloved Baba goes to my brother and says, can I fly your kite? He says, definitely Baba, take. So he handed over the thread of the kite to Baba. And now Baba looks at me and tells me to hold the rim loose so that the kite can fly higher and higher and higher. Unfortunately, I had not tied the thread to the rim. So it flew and it flew and it flew and it became so tiny, and then all the thread got over. So it flew away with the thread. Baba is looking at him and saying, should I buy you new rim and more kites? So my brother, though he was crippled, he was able to make kite. We used to bring very fine paper and bamboo sticks were cut out by the servants, and we would make the kite ourselves. And no, Baba, my uncle who had come 8 days before has given me new rim and lot of thread on it, and he has also brought kites for me. I don't need, thank you, Baba. So then that kite went away. But it was a sight to see, the kite going away, because it had a very long tail and it used to go like a snake in the air. But when the kite started looking small, the tail was looking fine. Yes. And he would even play with the other children. Gilli dandu, 7 tiles.
Baba.
Baba used to play.
Used to play with my toys.
If the children were playing marbles, Baba would take handful of marbles and play with the marbles.
There is a picture in Meherabad of Erich's younger brother Merwan playing marbles with Baba.
Baba was really like one of the family. Till Baba dropped his body, we never felt that he was such a great, great soul and God. We took it very lightly because he used to be so frank with us. Yes. Sometimes if he is going from Nagar to Pune for some work, he would stop at our Akbar press and he would take me also with him in the car to Pune to see Erich's mother and the family there. And I would go back and forth with him if it was no school day. And while we are getting driven, he would ask me question, have you ever done stealing? I said, Baba, I don't like to take any money or anything, but I feel very hungry. My aunt doesn't give us enough to eat. So I steal food, chapatis and chutneys and vegetables or bananas in chapati. And what else you do? Baba, I have to go. My auntie has nearly 200 hen in the backyard of the bungalow. So early in the morning I have to go and put my little finger in the backside of the hen to find out if the hen is going to lay egg. If the egg is there, you feel the egg with the finger. And during the night, some hen has already laid eggs and they keep sitting on the egg. So the egg is nice and warm. So, Baba, the only thing I did was, I used to love eating eggs. The egg that was nice and warm under the buttock of that hen was mine. Because I was not getting paid or anything. I would go with the basket and shoo the hen and separate them if they are not laying eggs, and those who are laying eggs in another pan. All that I had to do, but I used to love eating those eggs. So Baba said, how do you did that? I said, very easy, Baba. Take the egg, knock it on a small stone, and it cracks. Wow. I used to swallow that egg off. Baba asked me, how many eggs did you eat? I said, I never counted. Whatever was fresh and hot was mine. So I used to eat like that. And then the basket is full of eggs. I take it in the household because we had plenty of people in the house. Whatever got consumed in the household to eat, and the rest was sold. Fresh eggs everybody likes, so they were sold well. And my aunt used to collect money. At that time, 2 annas dozen eggs. These children might not have seen annas.
Annas, no.
You
No.
never saw an anna, no?
No.
I don't think I saw an Anna.
No?
I don't think so.
16 annas made 1 rupee.
What? Six paisa to an anna. So the eggs were 1 paisa
Paisa.
each.
Oh, so Anna is in between paisa and rupee.
Rupee, yeah, it's like shilling. You know, you had pound, shilling, and pence.
Yeah, I don't know English, British money
No.
either.
Yes, because you only
I
had
know
dollars and
shillings.
cents. Huh?
I know shillings.
Yeah, pound, shillings, and pence.
Yeah.
Now we no longer have shillings. We only have pounds and pennies. But in the old days, we had shillings. Like that, we had the rupee, the anna, and the paisa.
Yes,
So the
yes.
anna, we still had 25 paisa coins. They were called 4
Yes.
annas, and 50 was called 8 annas.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh.
But in the beginning, the paisa was whole copper. 3 paisa, there was a bigger coin, was called dabbu. And very tiny little copper pieces,
They're called pies.
pies.
Not paisa, but pie.
Fine.
Pie.
Huh.
We had like, I think it was like 3 pi to a paisa.
Yes.
It was a little, small little copper coins.
And later on, they cut the paisa from the center, and there was a hole in the paisa. So later on, what happened? People used to knit around that copper ring and make very beautiful looking toran, tablecloth and things like that. You can knit like a flower and things like that. Anyway, and Padri used to use them for washer when you have to fix some tap. No, not for tap.
Pipes.
Some washer anywhere if you have to tap. So Padri Kaka used to collect all that. And when I was a little girl, there was Second World War broken. Before we came from Bombay to Ahmednagar, the war had started. And the sirens would go on, and we would all go under the table or under the bed and say Baba's name, so that if the bomb falls down, then we would be all safe. But there were balloons, huge balloons. Balloons means not like normal balloons. They were enamel balloons. And they used to hold transparent nylon mesh. And they were lifted on top of the cities, floating all the time. So if the bomb falls, it gets into that mesh and doesn't break very easily. All these excitement things we had in our childhood.
But Bombay was never bombed, no?
No, it was never bombed, but the Japan was going was very close by. And they were trying to get
Because we were never ever a threat from the Germans.
No.
Our big problem was the Japanese. You know,
They got as far as Burma.
They did, yeah.
We used to get to see beloved Baba when Baba came to Bombay at Dada Chandji's people's house, and Baba used to give darshan to Baba lovers. But that time Baba group was very small. In fact, the Zoroastrian people were against beloved Baba, so they would throw rotten eggs and tomatoes and chappals at beloved Baba and the Mandli. If they were seen
I
here.
was reading in Lord Meher that in 1941, I read this in the Donkin Diaries. Donkin says that Baba said in 1941, when they were discussing the Second World War, he said that Mussolini would die a very violent death and Hitler would commit suicide. So, I mean, even in 1941, Baba knew that Hitler would commit suicide.
Yeah.
And who would have thought? Because in 1941 he was doing brilliantly, you know, his armies were doing well and everything. That's what Baba said.
Jai Baba Bill.
Jai Baba Bill.
What a big surprise.
Yeah.
You said you are coming.
So I came.
Yes, thank you Baba for that.
Continue.
Mum was talking about Bombay in the Second World War.
Ah.
And I was just saying that we were reading Donkin's diaries to Manu. And at the time, Baba used to have all these discussions about the World War, and it was very, very interesting to see what he had to say. But what really struck me was that one day he turned around and said, Mussolini will die a violent death and Hitler will commit suicide. And this was in 1941.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, from that you can understand how closely he was controlling what was happening in the war. That he knew exactly what would happen all those many years ago.
It was all planned by God, all these destructions and things. But France had the worst of destruction,
And the humiliation too.
humiliation.
Humiliation in France had the greatest humiliation.
That's right.
Britain stood up for themselves and were able to.
And we had the channel separating
Yeah,
us.
that's the
That was
advantage,
a big
yeah.
thing. We had the sea between us and Europe,
Yeah.
whereas poor France didn't have any
They didn't
of
have a
that.
chance. Didn't have a
They
chance.
didn't have a chance.
But
Once
then-
Italy capitulated, they couldn't do anything.
But the Russians suffered a lot.
Oh, the Russians.
Oh yes, they
The
did too.
Russians, I think, were the had the most of the population deaths and.
Yeah.
Everybody suffered.
Yeah, it was a terrible.
They used to send soldiers from India because Gandhi had agreed that if India, I mean that was the agreement that he made. If we supported Britain in the Second World War, then at the end of the war, Britain would grant us independence.
So where would the Indian soldiers be sent?
They were sent
Just-
all over. They were
Well,
sent
not
to
just,
Europe.
Not just to Burma or.
No, they were sent all over.
Is that where the Gurkhas? Are those the?
Not just the Gurkhas, the
Not
Maratha regiments and everybody.
Oh, really?
We went to Gallipoli and there is tombstones over there of Indian soldiers, you know.
You
who
never
were-
hear about that.
No, and they were buried in Gallipoli.
You never hear about.
From
at
the
least-
Maratha regiment, then from the Muslim regiment. So there were Indian soldiers even that far away. This is in Turkey. Gallipoli was a big fight in Turkey. Which
My father went in the First World War
To Africa.
time to Africa and the Second World War time. When he went for the First World War, he was a fireman on the locomotive engine. When he went for the Second World War time, he was a driver,
engine driver.
driver.
Locomotive engineer.
Yeah.
Yes,
He
yeah.
could speak Swahili until the day he died. He could speak Swahili. He had a wonderful memory for languages. He used to rattle away in Swahili.
Did he spend time in Africa?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Just in the war.
During the
Just-
two
just
wars.
during
Yeah.
the two wars.
He always
Yeah.
said he ate human flesh. My grandfather. He said because they were starving and everything, and then you know. But he used to do that to scare us kids. He said, "Yes, I've eaten human flesh." My grandfather was the mildest man you could ever expect to meet. And, you know, so we kids weren't really scared of him. So if he really weren't scared, he said, "You be careful." Yeah.
He also had the most beatific smile I've
He
ever
did, didn't
seen.
he? Yeah. I've got a picture of Dolly, and if you look at that picture, she smiles exactly like my grandfather did.
And he was a great storyteller. He used to tell Baba also, so he was called Jolly Mama. Whenever Baba would get tired of his seclusions and his worldly work, universal work, he would, Baba would send the car for my father. He used to call him by his name, Homi. Hormasa. Hormasa. So he would be called, and then Baba would make him tell the stories. In the beginning, when he went to Africa first time, the African people were not wearing any clothes. They just used to wrap around the big leaves and
Beads. They used to have beads around their waist.
whatever. And they would tell them, "Why are you wearing all this?" And they would tell that this is not necessary, you see. But they were in the British Army, so whatever they were given the uniform, they had to wear. And my papa said that the only thing that the African people did not like were tomatoes. They say that is a devil fruit. Don't eat that. Otherwise, it is red, no, in color.
Oh, red. Color of
So
blood.
blood, color of blood.
Superstition.
Superstition.
But it is a nightshade.
It is, and they can't be harmful.
It
Yeah.
can be harmful.
If you have arthritis, things like that. I
That's
think
right.
it's-
Manu's got an order from Baba not
No,
to eat
not
tomato.
tomatoes, yeah.
Yeah. And
No tomato, no aubergine, and no that gawar, you know.
Aubergine cheese, you mean?
Aubergine is the eggplant.
Oh, eggplant, okay.
Which is also a nightshade.
Yeah, yeah.
Manu has an order from Baba not to eat lots of.
And beloved Baba enjoyed good food. The best food that he liked was plain dal and rice, coconut chutney, sweet and sour, made with lemon juice and coriander and mint and curry leaves and coconut.
And fried pomfret. He loved
And Bombay duck, pomfret,
Which did he like better? Did he like Bombay duck or pomfret better?
Bombay duck.
Bumla.
Because that is one fish where you don't have to worry about eating the bone. You can even chew and swallow the bone of Bombay duck.
duck.
Bombay duck.
There was a question on a quiz in England once,
Yeah.
and the contestants were asked, "What is a Bombay duck?" And Dolly was there at the time with me, and we were saying, it's a fish," and none of them knew what it was.
It's
But
a
I remember watching Baba eat. It was beautiful because he would eat something, and then, if it was because he had no teeth.
Yeah.
Like even with the Bombay duck, it has fine bones, and sometimes the center bone can, in the bigger fish, it can be slightly tough.
Yeah.
So he would chew with his gums, and then what he couldn't chew, he would take it out and put it on the side of the plate. And whoever was sitting next to it got the benefit of having that given to them to eat.
Then Baba liked spinach, Baba liked ladyfinger, binda.
Okra.
Then beloved Baba liked pumpkin. We used to roll the pumpkin into batter and fry like bhajiyas. That we used to call it vegetable fish, because there were times when Baba had given us strict orders, no non-veg food should be eaten, not even the egg. Only it was given to people who were sick or who are told to have it by the doctor. Other than that, no one was allowed. Beloved Baba also liked playing cards. But Baba said through that he was doing universal work. What work he was doing, Baba alone knew. So there would be two teams which Baba would make if there were, say, 10, 15 people. And then everybody was given cards, but whoever gets the joker should give that joker to him. And they would all play the card, and the team which loses had to rub their nose on the carpet till the nose became red and sore. Yes. And he used to
He
enjoy.
used to cheat at cards all
I
the
heard
time.
that. I heard
He
that.
used to cheat at cards. So if he didn't have a good hand, he would sort of say, "What have you got? Show me." And always from the opposite team, "Show me what you've got." And then if he liked their cards better, he would take some of them.
It was naughty, mischievous.
Well, yes. I was a child when we used to sit in Guru Prasad and watch Baba playing cards. And it was great fun because as a child, all these grown-ups rubbing their noses, it was so much fun. And Baba would make them rub, and sometimes he would let them just have a couple of rubs and finish. And sometimes,
Still more.
go on.
You had also seen that.
Yeah.
She was in beloved Baba's lap when she was 20 days old.
He used to come to play with me.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Then he would come to play every day late in the afternoon. 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, whenever he felt like. He would come 2-3 carloads of Baba lovers, and then she was put on the dining table, nice big dining table we had. Big towel-like napkin was spread on the lower portion. She was made to sleep on it. I would put baby napkins, homemade baby napkins on pile, then milk bottle and water bottle, and the pacifier with honey. There were small glass cups like this, and I would put the pacifier, honey inside and the pacifier on top. And Baba would like to dip that honey and put it in her mouth if she started to cry. And he would rattle the silver gunda.
Yes, yes.
And all the Baba people who would come with beloved Baba would stand around the table. And we had to give them buttermilk or sharbat. One day buttermilk, one day sharbat. And Baba, we would make a big pot of it because it used to be very hot summer days. And Baba would have a mug like this and pour out in each one's glass. And then, so one day, Baba used to play with her all the time. So Francis Brabazon, who was from Australia, said to Baba, "Baba, I want to die."
No, he didn't say that. He said that to Rana. He said, she's a very lucky baby. And he said to Rana, Rana, you should die. Then you will come back as a baby and Baba will play with you also. And Rana, who didn't really get along with Francis because they were both artists and they both had this artistic temperament, she turned around and said to him, she says, "Why should I die? You die. And then you can come back." They used to fight all the time. But Meherabad says that Baba would say to them, he said, "Don't think I'm coming here for you all. I only come here for her. I come to be with her." Apparently he used to dip his little finger into his sharbat or whatever was there and then give me that to suck instead of the dummy.
Now you tell Mera some story of your memories being with beloved Baba.
Till what age you were with Baba?
When Baba passed away, she was 10 years.
I was just about, well, my birthday is on the 21st of February and Baba dropped his body on the 31st of January. Does he go to Baba now?
It's a small mic.
Oh,
We
okay.
don't reach the mic.
Oh, but I have.
I'll give it back to you in 5 minutes.
I don't know.
I've got a cough as well.
Finished.
You finished with it, okay. But anyways, as I said to you, Baba would play with my toys. My dad was a sailor and he would bring back from his voyage different kinds of toys. And I had a doll that my dad had brought, small little plastic doll. It had a hole in the mouth and had a hole down below. And you got a little dropper with it and you had to fill the water in the dropper, put it in the doll's mouth and the water would go down and it would come out from the bottom. And Baba loved that doll. She was called Mary doll. So Baba would ask for a bowl of, a cup of water, an empty bowl, and then he would put the water in and let the water come out, and he would find it very amusing. So he would say to Baba's Mera, see, he said, the doll is peeing. And Mera, who was very, very fastidious, she didn't like any mention of anything to do with like bodily functions or anything. She would say, "Chi Baba, what do you want to play with a toy like this?" But he absolutely loved that doll. Yeah, I was named Mera after Baba's Mera. And when I was a baby and they used to shout for me, she would come running because her name was Mehra and my name was Mehra. So she said to Baba, she said, Baba, every time they call for the child, I come running. You should do something to differentiate between her and me. So Baba said, all right, she will be called Baby Mehra. So I was called Baby Mehra from that time until Mehra auntie died, which was in 1989, and I was 30 years old at the time. I was still called Baby Mehra. And to this day, some of the servants in Meherabad still call me Baby Mehra. They haven't got out of the habit. They still call me Baby Mehra. Though I'm actually older than some of them now, they still call me Baby Mehra.
That's nice.
Yes, it's different. But yeah, Baba, I also had a little dog that my dad brought back from one of his voyages. It was a battery-operated dog. It was like one of these airport porters, and it had a wagon that it used to pull along. So you put the batteries and you switched it on and it would pull the wagon with all these suitcases loaded onto it. And it would walk, and then it would stand, go lean back like that and go, And Baba loved that dog and he would make it walk.
He would do like this with his paws.
And then he would put it down.
Again go on his four
And then,
legs.
and Baba would say, poor thing, so small, pulling all that, he would gesture. See how tired he gets. But he would love to watch it. He would watch it for ages. Then he would say, switch it off, it's worked hard enough, switch it off. And then it would be put to one side and then he would ask for it another time.
And there was one elephant.
Yes, that played the band.
Yes, that played the band.
So
He would sit on a battery box, which looked
it was like, those cymbals and everything with the drums. So it had one of those things that the elephant was sat on, that it had a little bell in his trunk and it would play the drums and then clash the cymbal and then shake his head so the bell would ring. And so when the dog was resting, the elephant was brought out so Baba could play with the elephant.
Baba was so funny, huh?
What?
Baba was so funny.
Baba he was whatever you are. He was a child with children. He was, the most learned of sages with sages, anything. He was at your level wherever you were. Which is why, as a child, I never thought, we were told Baba is God, and I learned my prayers by the time I was 2.5. I could say the prayers in front of Baba. But it didn't really strike me that I'm actually praying before God, because the same God comes and plays with my toys and gives me treats and everything else. So how do you, as a child, why would you think that this is God? So when Baba dropped his body in 1969 and he was in the crypt for 7 days, the first time I went into the crypt, I was expecting to feel this great sense of loss and sorrow and everything. And instead of that, I felt none of it. I felt very happy and I felt really, really joyful. And bowing down to him in the crypt, I suddenly realized, I said, oh my God, this is what they talk about, that Baba is God. Because only God can be, his body is lying there and he's everywhere. So only God could do that. For an almost 10-year-old child, that is a big realization. So for 7 days, I was running around really happy and smiling, and everybody said, see how well she's bearing up. And she's not crying, she's being really brave. Because Baba really used to spoil me, he had told my parents, you should never punish her, because if you punish her, you punish me. So I was really very spoiled.
We could not scold her.
Or smack me or anything.
We could not spank her. And I could not kiss her. Nobody should in the family.
Except
kiss
Erich's mother and Erich's brother.
Yes, and beloved Baba himself. And then I said to Baba, Baba, she is the first child. We have never had any child in the family. Then what will I do? So Baba says, here is a rose. And what do you do with the rose? It has very good fragrance. You sniff the rose. Like that, you take your mouth and nose around her neck and sniff her. Because small children always smell very sweet. You put on good powder to them and they smell real good.
Yeah, babies have a wonderful scent,
You're just making me long to see my new great-granddaughter that I haven't seen yet, and we'll see at Christmas time. Because we now have 3 great-grandkids. Two are boys, and the third one that we haven't seen is a girl. And her name is Lillian Margaret, but they call her Lily. Lily, and her mom is Rose, so now it's Rose and Lily.
Rose and Lily,
and we will meet them when they were in Portland, Oregon. Our eldest son is the grandpa, and so now I can't wait to see this little Lily. She was born in August. We haven't seen her.
What day in August is she born?
I think 29th. I'm not even sure. I think August.
Mom's born in August.
Oh.
She's born on the 10th of August.
No, it was later. It was later than that.
Baba used to send us greeting cards on our birthdays. Each one would have the greeting card.
Or telegram.
Or telegram.
One of them.
One of the two. And
Other way. I said it. One the just in it. Oh, ulti kar. I saw. Right.
pelo mono fera.
Stop.
The speaker is changed.
Yes.
Yeah. And sometimes Baba had come for her first birthday, which was on the 21st of February. But he said that I'll come and celebrate her birthday on the 21st of March, which was our wedding anniversary, first wedding anniversary. So, beloved Baba.
Would it be the first? Yeah, you were married in 59.
Ah.
And I was born, 58, and I was born in 59.
Ah.
So yes, first wedding
And
anniversary.
we had a real great time in Pune. Baba had come home and I had stitched a nice red dress for her with beautiful
Lace.
cut lace. And Baba held her on his lap and put on kumkum, and then little garland was made for her, which Baba put it on. It was cute. We had good food that day. On auspicious days, we Parsis have that sweet save, dahi, hard-boiled eggs, dal and rice, and some vegetable or tomato, sweet and sour tomato to go with. And if there is the season of fish, then we have fish, which is very auspicious.
Or even meat.
That it depends, you see. Afternoon time we do not feel like eating meat. We usually used to have meat and dish if you have some good occasion in the house at night time.
We only cooked once, and we used to have the same food in the afternoon and the night.
No.
Yes, that
For-
always cooked once.
No,
Only
but-
mangoes and all we used to eat in the afternoon.
But that was ordinary days, but when you have somebody's birthday and things, we celebrate it that way. It all depends on everybody's mood. Because we used to cook beloved Baba's and Lady Mandli and Men Mandli's food in Bindra house and send it wherever beloved Baba stayed. Till 1958, beloved Baba stayed in botanical gardens. But from 1959 onwards, her uncle, who was the horticulturist in Pune Botanical Garden, had gone to study in America. So we had to hand over that bungalow back to the garden people.
To the college. It was a staff quarter. It was given to staff members to live in. And then by that time Guru Prasad was found and Baba started staying in Guru Prasad.
And that year Baba had come real early because there was 2-3 years famine going on in Ahmednagar. For 2-3 years they did not have good rains. So it was very, very hot by the time it was March, and Baba had come to Pune.
And they had a water shortage as well.
Lot of water shortage.
In any case, Baba's water went from Pune. Baba never ever either bathed or drank with or drank Nagar water, Meherabad water ever. It used to come either used to be a taxi which used to bring the newspapers every morning. So the water was sent in big brass or containers from Pune to
This high.
Yeah.
This high
Nagar,
brass
either in that
containers.
taxi or
By bus.
Bhagirath would come in the truck.
Yes.
Because he was a truck driver at the time, and he would take these huge containers of water for Baba. Baba did not get on well with the Meherabad water. And I live in Meherabad now, and I can understand why Baba did that. Because that water is really terrible. You drink 2 glasses of it and you get this terrible, terrible gas. Very bad gas. Very hard water. And whenever you have a bath with it, you never really feel clean because you still have a little bit of scum left. It's so hard. So I can understand why. Nobody else had the luxury of doing that, but Baba used to make sure that his water was sent from Pune. It used to come from Bindra house, like most things did.
Every morning, Patil and Merwan would have cartmen coming to Bindra house, and those big brass things were loaded on that, and that old fellow would drag it to the place. Quartergate.
You remember where Quartergate was, Bill? When you came to Bindra house,
Yeah.
you came out of the gate and you turned right, walked to the end of the road. That was Quartergate.
Okay.
So the taxi left from there. He would bring the water to the trust office after dropping off his passengers, leave it at the trust office, then Adi would transport it over to Meherabad.
So this went on for years?
For years, yes.
My
Yes.
goodness.
For years.
It puts me in mind of a thing that we saw, because before we came here this time, we made a tour because we were finally going to see Taj Mahal. And one of the things we saw in a museum, I think it was in Jaipur maybe, I'm not sure, but was some prince was going to go to London, and so for his use, they were bringing Ganges water.
Yep.
And in this huge...
It's in the palace in Jaipur, in City Palace.
Yes, that's what I have a photo of it with me. And it said it's the largest silver object in the world.
2. There are 2 of them.
Oh, well, I just saw the one. And it must be over 10 feet high. It's very, very big. I'll show you the picture of it. Have you seen it? You've seen it.
When we went to Jaipur, you saw it. We went to the City Palace. The first time we went to Jaipur. We had gone to the City Palace.
So
This time I was not.
This was filled with Ganges water and accompanied him to London for his use during his stay there.
To keep him purified.
Because, I don't know, his mother or somebody thought he wouldn't be
Hindu.
They were Hindu, that he wouldn't, if he didn't have this Ganges water, he wouldn't
Become pious.
He would be like changed and not be a pure Hindu anymore. Yeah.
Wow.
It was amazing.
But I tell you, Ganges water is the most
Polluted.
water.
Now. But in those days,
Yes,
it was very pure.
yeah. In olden days it was pure, but now all the sewers go into it, all the dead bodies are thrown into it.
Yeah.
dead bodies, bones and things, ashes are thrown. It is
We went
the only place where it is pure, where the Ganges starts in Himalayas.
At the glacier.
Gangotri,
It's a glacier.
yes.
we went to Varanasi also. That was our last stop on that tour. So we were in a boat on the Ganges. I saw the Ganges. I saw a dead body in the water. But meanwhile, and other people were bathing.
Yeah.
Were bathing in it. Very interesting. In fact, I think that's where I got my cough, because when I first came here, for 2 weeks I had like bronchitis. And I think
You must not have worn woolies.
I know I didn't wear woolies because I never felt cold, but I think they say all the people come to Varanasi that are dying, they want to die there. So I don't
Probably a
think
lot of germs
I don't think it's the healthiest place to be.
Baba knows. કેજ કે વારાણસીની અંદર she found that the people were she was on the Ganges river in the boat and she saw it wasn't good enough.
The dead body floating by.
Yes.
Body floating, and meanwhile other people were washing.
Oh
with
yes,
the soap
because
and bathing,
spiritually you will be
bathing,
purified.
Purified. But when I arrived here, then very soon after we left, because we had to go fly Varanasi to Delhi, and then from Delhi we flew to Pune and came here. By the time I came here, I had a very bad cough, and I think I got that cough in Varanasi. They were saying, we were told that's where the older people, or any people that are dying, want to die in Varanasi, and so that's
They go to heaven if they die.
they'll go straight to heaven. But I just got a cough there.
Anyway, so we now wind up our talk and say Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, Jai Baba.
I hope you all enjoyed it.
Yes, Roshan.
Always, yeah.
Are we going to see you at home sometime?
Yes, I will come visit, yeah.
With
Sure.
guitar.
With guitar, of course.
Please.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I'm usually home on Fridays and Saturdays.
Okay.
Otherwise I'm in Meherabad.